if your dreams are really, if you're serious about them, then the sacrifice is worth it. Your body's your temple. It's how you're going to go forward, how you're going to keep progressing in the hockey world. I think obviously diet is one of the most, if not the most important thing in advancement.
So we chose to do things differently as a family as far as health is concerned. Welcome to the Elite Athlete Podcast, the show that fuels your performance from the inside out. Whether you're chasing goals on the ice, field, or wherever your sport takes you, this podcast is your trusted playbook for optimizing energy, recovery, and long-term results. I'm your host, Dr. Nicole Tatro, a former collegiate athlete, athletic health coach, and mom to high-level athletes who've poured countless hours into achieving their dreams. I've lived this journey, and I'm still living it now, helping my kids and athletes just like you unlock their potential through smarter fueling, recovery strategies, and injury prevention. If you're ready to perform at your peak, feel unstoppable energy, and build a body that serves you for years to come, you are in the right place. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Elite Athlete Podcast. I'm Dr. Nicole Tatro, and today's episode is truly one of the most special moments in my podcasting journey so far. It's not just the first episode of 2025, although we recorded it at the end of 2024. It's also my 50th episode. That milestone might not seem huge to everyone, but to me, it represents consistency, growth, and the privilege of sharing this platform with incredible stories. In this episode, it's by far my favorite. For the first time ever, I'm hosting an in-person interview, and my guest is none other than my son, Owen Tatro. My husband and I are incredibly proud of him, not just for his accomplishments on the ice, but for the person he's becoming. Today, we're diving into Owen's hockey journey, but before we start, I want to share something that truly warmed my heart. Owen recently told us about a moment after one of his games where he's playing out west. These little kids ran up to him shouting, "Tatro, Tatro, can you sign my puck? You're my favorite player." And then there's the family who approached him saying their 5-year-old and the mom both consider him their favorite player and wanted to buy one of his jerseys. Those moments remind us that Owen's impact goes far beyond the ice. We know as parents that any team would be lucky to have him, both for his talent and for the character he brings to everything he does. So let's dive into his heartfelt and inspiring conversation with my son, Owen Tatro. You won't want to miss it. Well, hello and welcome back to the Elite Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Nicole Tatro, and today I'm super excited because I have a first one of a kind for the Elite Athlete Podcast today because I actually have my son, Owen Tatro, here with me. But not only that is I'm doing my first in-person interview. Usually when I have my guests on, they are wherever they are, somewhere else in our virtual studio, and we kind of go from there. But because I have had the awesome opportunity to have my son home for the holidays for a very, very brief amount of time, we decided that he would do a podcast with me. So welcome, Owen. I'm so excited. You don't really know this, but I talk about you a lot on the podcast, unless you have been listening to all my episodes. I'm throwing you under the bus here because you probably haven't listened to them all, have you?
No, not all of them.
But this is my son, Owen, the one that I talk about that's playing hockey out west right now. And I wanted him to come on to not only brag a little bit about him, because that's what I do as a mom, but also to have him give his version of his journey, because I've been giving some of the version, but as the mom, as the health person, but I wanted him to say it in some of his own words. So I guess what I want to do, Owen, is maybe we can start with your journey. I have said things here and there on the podcast, but I'm just wondering if we could start with where it all started for you when we're talking about hockey. He's a multi-sport athlete, but we can talk about that a little bit. So when did it all start? We laughed on our way over here because I'm probably going to know most of his answers, but that's all right. Maybe I'll learn something new as well.
Maybe.
But let's talk a little bit about your journey.
So I started playing when I was 7. We just played town hockey, and then
Which 7 is actually,
very
compared to some of your peers, they were
Very
starting,
young.
they put skates on at 2 years old and definitely started playing at 4. So it was late.
Yeah.
And as a mom, you
Late to
had
start.
3 crates high. You were pushing 3 crates. But this is where I get to brag a little bit. Like, he excelled past that very, very quickly. And even though we dragged our feet as parents in the hockey world, there's no turning back now.
No,
So,
no.
yeah, we started in the local league. Yeah, go
Just
ahead.
town hockey and then moved up to AAA. Played for Dynamo here in Vermont. And then that led me to my
You
tour.
did Glades
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so Glades, Flames.
you
I
did
think that
some
was
split
it.
season Flames. These are all for those of you that are not local, those are some of our local organizations that have gone above and beyond to bring higher level hockey opportunities to some of our kids in the area.
So Dynamo, we had a tour at a junior boarding school, Cardigan, and kind of just fell in love with the place right away. We didn't think it was possible, like prep school, leaving home. What, 13?
Yeah. We did the whole repeat. In the hockey world, we call it reclassed. So we had him stay. You did your whole middle school here at home, and then you repeated 8th grade at Cardigan. So it's a junior boarding, all boys junior boarding. Let's talk a little bit about those sacrifices. That was a big change, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was completely different lifestyle, but it set me up like tremendously. It's just, yeah, I can't thank that place enough. But leaving, I was 13 when I left, 14.
Yeah, well, yeah, so you would have been a 9th grader if you had stayed. So yeah.
So yeah, I was 3 hours away from home. That was a huge change for me. It was no phones, all boys.
In the first, what was it? They had originally said like a month, wasn't it? No contact with family whatsoever. Not even anything. But then you got your computer and you were able to
Yeah.
do some sort of text message to us. I remember that. It seems like ages ago, but then it seems like just yesterday. But yeah, like it was kind of a joke with all the other boarding schools, wasn't it?
Yeah, we
Because you
used to get
guys
picked on
didn't
for
have
that.
your phones, like literally no devices. People would get kicked out, right? Because they
Yeah,
would.
because they try to sneak it. They get
So
in big trouble for it. But it was, now looking back, it's all part of the process. So I'm very happy for that place.
what do you think that did compared to if you had stayed here? And we're not bashing our local high school. We just chose a different path. But what
I mean, it's just,
you said it set you up. So what do you think, like not having your phone?
I think it just adds character. Like you're living in the present with the people around you. And I also happened to be there during COVID, so
Well,
it was just shut down. There's nothing, we couldn't travel for games.
that was
So
your
we just
second
had
year, right? First
yeah,
year we got all the way through.
we, yeah, we
This is
just
the
had
second year,
our
his
boys.
big year. Yeah. Actually, yeah. This is rough. This is rough for a lot of a few of the guests I've had on the podcast too. COVID, the obvious, we don't need to talk about the obvious, but it really did affect these kids in many ways. We sacrificed a lot to send our son away to play hockey. And you actually played other sports there too.
Mhm.
But then not even to be able to do the thing that he went there for was kind of heartbreaking, to be honest. It was tough, but they got through it.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, so you were playing 3 sports there and you were actually really good. You were
Yeah.
really good. You got offensive player, right, for
For
soccer.
soccer.
You played some baseball.
Yeah.
So tell me when did you start? Because you went in, I'll let you go. I'll stop talking. I'll let you continue your journey because I'm just wondering when you let go of playing your 3 sports.
I mean, I think I played baseball longer than hockey. Like I started earlier.
Oh my gosh, yeah, 4,
Same with
probably
soccer.
T-ball,
But
right?
I always loved hockey more than anything. So I kind of knew that sacrifice was ready to be made because I stopped playing. I played my 2 years baseball and soccer there, and then going forward, I went to Cushing Academy, and that's where I stopped. Though, yeah, that's where I stopped those 2 sports. I knew that sacrifice was ready to be made, and I had to put all my like effort and time into hockey, training, on and off the ice.
Did you miss it?
Yeah, I did. Actually, at the beginning I didn't, and then seeing everyone enjoying it, I kind of just, yeah. To this day, I miss it a little bit.
Because it's different, right? Every season, every sport, every team is different. You have different kinds of people. Soccer and baseball, you're outside and
Yeah.
good or bad weather, being on the East Coast. You never know what you might get for weather, but as parents, we were for sure sad, and we do miss watching them play other sports. But obviously, we're a hockey family.
Yeah.
Your sister was basically born in the rink. Dragged her around while she was in a stroller watching all of your stuff.
Yeah.
So that brings us to Cushing was your secondary school, which took place instead of you going to high school here
Yeah.
locally. So tell people what that experience was. You did all 3 years there. So
Yeah. So, like I said with Cardigan, it just set me up for prep school. It's just, I was already so, I want to say advanced over the other people that didn't go to junior boarding school, but it was just, I understood the lifestyle now. And it's just a private school, but it was for hockey, and that's where I went there and made my decision to quit baseball and soccer. The coaches were not too happy with me about that, but
you're a good athlete. They wanted you.
yeah,
And you did some good things there. You were a proctor for 2 years?
Cushing, it was 2 years.
2 years, right?
The
Yeah.
second
So he
year.
was the leader of your dorm. So you had some leadership roles. So that was good. So how do you feel like that helped set you up, even in regard to your sport? Like,
I think it just carried on, like being a role model off the ice. It just brings the whole community together. Being a leader, being someone that someone can rely on if they need something. Yeah, and at Cardigan, I was a leader all 2 years. Um,
captain, right?
captain,
Yep.
and then the athletic. What was that?
Oh, you were
Yeah,
assistant athletic director,
yeah.
right? That was
From
cool. I
yeah.
forgot about
So
that.
made the
So many,
announcements to the whole school.
yep, all the athletic announcements. So if anybody's out there listening and because we do get people reaching out to us because people in our local area know our kids. They know the name, and people will ask questions. So I thought this would be really good to kind of lay out some of the things for people that might be a few steps behind you and might be dreaming of this process as well. Now, it's not always easy, huh?
Oh no, not at all. It's a lot easier said than done.
Looking at it as a family, not only did he have to make sacrifices, probably even some that I didn't even know about, but, as a family, we had to sacrifice because he got a decent financial aid package. They don't claim to give scholarships. I think that's the lingo. I'm not exactly sure the language of it, but we had to sacrifice because instead of going for free here locally, you do have to pay. We have to travel to get him to and from. You have to set up it's basically sending your young teenager to college early. So basically that's what our family had to be able to learn how to do. And we had to sacrifice not having him just on a weeknight for dinner. We didn't have Sunday night dinners, and if we wanted to see him, we had to drive a few hours, which is nothing compared to some of your roommates. And the diversity that you were exposed to is just so heartwarming to me as somebody that lives in Vermont, and it's getting more diverse, but we just didn't come from an area. And I mean, your first roommate, where was Michael from? China,
China.
but
Well,
like
yes.
where in the big one? Oh my gosh, I'm terrible with
She said
Beijing, right? Or no?
I think so. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then so you had,
All over the place.
yeah, oh my gosh,
Thailand,
yeah,
Australia,
and so
Japan,
good friends, good
Mexico.
friends. Even the the girl from Chile.
Yeah.
So just very cool experiences, right? So lots of sacrifices, but so much was gained as well. You got to travel. Just the team bonding experience is not like anything else because they literally live together. Now, there are probably some times where that was a little bit rough, right? You had had enough
Oh
of
yeah.
each other and you needed to take breaks. But I feel like that probably taught you some life lessons, right? On how to deal with people and deal with conflict and things
Yeah.
like that. So
For sure.
Pretty cool. Okay, so that brings us up to your high school experience, and you graduated last year. What I want to talk about, maybe let's keep going. So then let's bring them current a little bit. So then, hmm, then we get into the junior hockey world.
Yeah, it's
Because
completely
do you
different.
want to explain to them that you had offers to go to college right off, and your grades were right there, but tell them a little bit about what you chose or what you're choosing at this point.
So the juniors process, it's basically it's a stepping stone to get to for my goal is Division 1 hockey. So like my mom just said, I had some offers to go D3, but that wasn't the path I wanted. So I have 2 years to play juniors, advance, just get bigger, stronger, and then yeah, hopefully Division 1 hockey. But it's just completely different ball game. It's such a grind. We have so my day in the life. We wake up 7, have practice at 9, and then a lift right after, film, film before practice, and then we either have another session or another lift, one or the other, and then you're off for depends on the day, but you're off for the rest of the day. Or we like to get in with the community. We've been to multiple schools already, just become one with the community. But I'm living in Wyoming. It's very, very far from home, but it's cool that hockey has been able to do that for me, get me out of here.
New experiences for sure. So if we backed up a little bit, I don't know if you're willing and able to talk about the summer was pretty awful, huh? Summer was rough.
Yeah,
That was the process before getting to Wyoming. Just in case somebody is watching or listening that is, like I said, right on your tails on doing this, any advice to them on, I mean, you went to main camps, you were invited. Just talk a little bit about that if you, it's a little bit,
just about the summer and
yeah, it was a pretty crazy
so
summer. I mean, I didn't even really see you, and dad took you most of them,
yeah.
but you were gone most of the summer.
Yeah, I think definitely this summer in particular, it's a lot of just figuring out where you're going. So I was at the main Nordiques, and then we went to Minnesota, Casper, Elmira. Yeah, just a lot of traveling, a lot of different.
And that
Just
was
like
just the ones that you actually went to. Then there was a lot of, talk and that we didn't end up
yeah,
pursuing because there's only so much you can do. And, just as we're not pros at this whatsoever, or I'm not. But it's just some of them you do have to be careful. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's just about money. It's like you have
it's
to be
just a
really smart.
business.
What we did do, and I think we feel really strongly that we did hire an advisor.
Hmm.
And I really do feel like it came at the right time because he seems to really do his work, make the phone calls, those kinds of things. So I do feel like that's been helpful. Somebody to text like, "Hey, what the heck is going on?" That kind of
Yeah,
thing. So if anybody has questions about that, again, we're just going through the grind, like Owen said. But if you do have questions, let us know and we can certainly point you in the right direction. But at this point, it's beyond what mom and dad can do. These coaches
uh
don't want to talk to mom and dad anymore.
no,
So then fast forward to now. So you're out in Wyoming. Right now you're playing for Casper. But what's really crazy is that right now you look pretty stable there, but he has teammates that are leaving like every day.
hmm
They're traded, they decide to leave, or they are told to leave. They can literally up and have to move to a different state before the weekend or something, or you know what I mean? Like it's
you can show up
wild,
to
right?
practice, and coach calls you up to the office. You're gone later that night. And
Yeah.
it's just I could go back to Casper, and we just got a new coach, so I could go back to Casper and get told to leave right away.
Ugh, I'm not gonna lie, it's super stressful. I don't know. You seem to be pretty cool about it all the time, but I think mom and dad are more stressed out than he is sometimes. But that's okay. That's our job, right? And then, so talk a little bit about, so you have a billet situation. I think you got pretty lucky.
I did,
Shout out
yes.
to Kelly if she's listening, right? Kelly and Hudson. We'll have to make sure they listen because we've heard some horror stories
Yeah, it's
all
been
over the country, the US, especially with the whole billet situation. We were very nervous about that, especially sending him out west. But you have a good situation. She takes good care of you.
yeah, she is. Very grateful for Kelly.
So we're kind of hoping that he doesn't have to leave because he is in a good situation. Mm, She stays in good communication with us and she feeds them well. All right, so that brings you a little bit current, literally current, meaning at the time of this recording, he is heading on a plane tomorrow morning at like 5 a.m. to head back for practice tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, I think. So, gonna be a rough 24 hours for you.
Yeah.
But that's why I had to snag him to record before he left because I don't know, with his schedule, it's hard to even get a few phone calls out of him, but we try. So let's back up a little bit. You mentioned getting bigger and stronger, faster, all of that stuff. So let's dive in a little bit on my area of expertise. The stuff that, of all my kids, he's here, and I'm not just saying it because he's in front of me, but he's the one that still asks me questions, and they're very thoughtful when it comes to his health. So let's go all the way back. What was it like when you were just playing local AAA, right? It was still advanced, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if I was trying to get you to do certain things. Remember we used to do like peppermint oil and
Yeah.
put it on your wrist and we'd try to have him smell it to try to open up his airways. There was some studies out there to say that peppermint oil could open up your airways, which obviously would let you breathe a little bit better. And him and his brother would do that. And we seemed like it helped. So we did that. But let's talk about some other things. It wasn't as easy when we were doing the Boston trips. I feel like we don't necessarily, we're not a fast food family, but when you're on the road, we did have to do a lot of restaurants. We did bring a lot of our own food. So
Mhm.
I think that was helpful. Tell me a little bit about what it's like to try to get to the next level because you know that there are people and teammates out there that would rather go eat the hot dog or the slice of pizza. And not that you don't eat those things, but I don't know if you eat hot dogs. Maybe. I don't think so. And you'll have a
Pizza, yeah.
pizza, right? And that's okay. But tell me a little bit about your health choices that you've had to make starting when you were younger all the way up till now. Tell people a little bit about what you've had to do, which might be a sacrifice for some people, but what have you done differently, do you feel?
You gotta, if your dreams are really, if you're serious about them, then the sacrifice is worth it. I mean, like your body's your temple. It's how you're gonna go forward, how you're gonna keep progressing in the hockey world. So, I mean, I think it's very obviously diet is one of the most, if not the most important thing in like advancement.
So we chose to do things differently as a family as far as health is concerned. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that.
About health and the sacrifice that you have to
Yeah.
make.
Yeah. What did we do differently? What did you do differently than maybe some of your peers? Or not even comparing, but just looking at what does it take to get you from what you did to where you are now?
I mean, like I said, your body's your temple, so you have to take care of it. Every decision you make. Are we talking just diet here or just in general?
Whatever. Because
I mean,
mental is part of it as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
every decision you make leads up to that. So if your dreams for hockey or whatever sport you're in is that serious, then the sacrifice will be worth it. 100%.
So tell me a little what sacrifices do you think you made then? I mean, I know. I know what you're doing now. Uh so let's start when you were younger. Did you think that you made different choices than some of your friends?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I don't have a lot of hometown friends because all my friends are all over the world because that's where I went to school. But like even here, I have one close friend and a couple others that I hang out with. But I think it's just that's part of it is you're gonna miss out on a lot of stuff. But for me, it's 100% worth it. Um, I'm not a big partier. I don't like to do that stuff doesn't interest me because it's not part of my path. I think that's one of the biggest sacrifices that I see around like kids my age doing. Yeah,
Especially home on
it's
break,
just
huh?
yeah, yeah,
I mean, you must some days miss that opportunity. I mean, you must
yeah.
want to, but your
They're
path is just,
kids,
yeah.
um, I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, it's really worth it for me, and you don't need to go you don't need to go down that path. And then, like you said earlier, some other sacrifices for our family is being in the rink. We just grew up in the rink nonstop. And then when you're not at the rink, you're training at home, shooting pucks outside. Rather than going to the beach on a sunny day, you're shooting pucks in the garage, stick handling, working out. Yeah.
What about the actual food choices, diet, that kind of health?
I mean, I just try it. It's very easy with you because you help me, but um, I mean, you know if you should or shouldn't eat something, and I think you just gotta just stop and think, is it really necessary that I need to eat this bad food rather than having good food?
Is there anything in particular? I'm kind of putting you on the spot now, but um, if someone, like I said, is listening that admires what you've accomplished so far and they're looking to make some changes, anything in particular, like cutting out junk food or, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been big on sweets ever, but I just try to stay away from the stuff that I can control. Like, sometimes you're not going to be able to get the healthiest meal in, but I think if you can just do it day by day, focusing on just set a plan. Like I said, it's really easy with you. So, recently I just got an app to keep track of my calories and then what I have to eat. And it gives me suggestions and advice for the next steps and what you're missing out on, what you should have more of.
So what we
I
did
mean,
was we
yeah.
set you up. I have a particular calculator that I use in my world, and you put in your desired weight. For Owen, he actually wants to gain weight. He wants to gain healthy weight and muscle mass. So you put in your desired weight gain. You put in what you currently are, your height, your weight, all of that stuff. And then you also, your activity level, all kinds of things
Mhm.
come into play. What kind of body type do you have? That kind of thing. And we can get even further because his main sport obviously is hockey, and there's a different energy source that's needed for that. But we put that in, and you need over 4,000 calories a day.
Yeah, it's like 4,300
Yeah, so
just
it's a
to,
lot. It's not easy, is it?
no, not at all.
So you have to be very disciplined. You got your new scale,
Yeah.
so you got your food scale. And again, it's not for everybody, but Owen is very disciplined and he's very goal oriented. So this works for people that might be like that. There are different strategies for different athletes. That's what I love about my job working with different athletes, is that we have to just make a plan that works for them. But with Owen, it's kind of easy. You can just give him the goal. It's not perfect, but you give him the goal and then we work through the plan and then you know what to do. So yeah, so that's good. And so you're really focusing on a good amount of protein, 40 to 50 grams
Yeah.
each meal. And you're trying to shoot for like 5 different times for the protein
Yeah.
in a day.
5. I think my meal plan has me eating 4 full meals with snacks or protein shakes in
Mm-hmm.
between those.
Yeah. His dad is a big hunter and he did some venison jerky.
Yeah.
So we looked up the protein
For
content on that.
protein.
We know that's very clean. So we're trying to do different things like that that are easy because he obviously said his schedule is pretty rough, right? So those are the types of things that you have to do to get to the next level. None of it's perfect and it's always a work in progress because things can change on a dime, right? Let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about your injuries. You've had a few.
Yeah. Long list. So I think my first one was my knee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was pretty
My f-
traumatic.
yeah. My first year at Cushing, I had a bad fall during practice and shattered. You'd be able to explain it better, but
Yeah, you didn't even know. So you played
yeah.
for
So
weeks on it,
shattered
couple weeks,
kneecap.
right? So it was the inside of the patella. So you chipped off parts of that bone, 3 pieces actually. We didn't know until surgery that it was 3.
On the initial hit, that happened apparently, and then 3 months later, I just couldn't take it, so I ended up getting it checked out. And
It was
turns out,
giving out. You couldn't even,
yeah,
you jumped up once and then
yeah,
like your whole leg gave out. It was very scary actually. And it worked out in his favor. We were actually thinking you were going to have a bone graft surgery. But when they went in, they found the 3 pieces of bone floating around, and that's what was causing so much pain. he literally was playing with a broken leg. But then when you actually went in for the surgery, the pieces weren't viable, so they couldn't even do the graft, which was good and bad because we were worried that it wasn't going to be enough, but it grew back strong. You go back on the ice pretty quickly.
I think they're gonna sample my DNA, right? And send
Yeah,
it
we have
somewhere,
it at the cell
just in
place.
case if
Yeah.
it didn't get better. But I had some problems for a little bit with it, but now it's good. And then fast forward to the next year at Cushing, my second year, we were close. Oh, it was 2 games before playoffs. We were the first place seed. And I go down to block a shot and shattered my finger broke my finger in 3 places. So I was done for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, the end of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, I was done for the rest of the season. Had to watch my team lose in the championship from the stands. That was not fun. Yeah, it was
Two different ways, right? Losing and watching from the
Yeah.
stands, right?
And then I made it through my third year at Cushing without any significant injuries. And then this year, I'm on my 4th injury in a span of like a month. So it's a lot on the body. What was it? I had fractured elbow.
Well, your elbow, you think you probably did fracture it at Cushing. Who knows?
Oh, true. Yeah. So I apparently had an old I don't know what the term for it is, but I had an old fracture. They just got reopened when I got hit in practice.
Probably some nerve entrapment, maybe.
So that's what he said. It tore the scar tissue and ligaments that grew inside the fractured bone that I didn't get healed. So that tore open. Then a week later, I think it was my third time going back on the ice since the elbow. I went to shoot the puck out and my shoulder just dislocated out of socket. No one was around me. It just bad luck. I got that healed up, and as soon as I got back, I just got a pretty bad concussion and came home early. So
That was the only good part of that.
yeah.
You get to be home a little bit longer.
So yeah, it's a lot for your body to take, and then on top of the physical pain of injuries, it's also very big mentally. And it's something that you got to work through because I put so much time and effort to hockey, and having to watch from the side it's very painful. So,
But we have tried a few things to expedite your healing. As many people know on the podcast here, I have a relationship with some really great supplement companies. So we threw a bunch of supplements at you, thoughtful supplements, to try to improve your healing. So hopefully that's helping out. We're going to do the same for his concussion. We're really going to try to heal your brain and protect it, hopefully from future issues, because he said he's not ready to throw up his skates yet. Some days as a mom, man, I don't know, all these injuries, and they play hard. It is aggressive and they play hard. It's grown men. They're like grown men out there and all trying to get to the next level. So they all are trying their hardest. Well, despite the injuries and all the tough stuff, would you do anything different?
even if I could go back
Yeah.
and start.
What would you have done differently?
It's funny because we actually talk about that a lot. Like, I think the biggest thing that I wish I could do is have the knowledge I have now back when I was 13 at Cardigan, and just like the training, because didn't always know exactly what to do training wise, diet wise. I mean, even drive. Like, I definitely more driven now than I was at Cardigan to start. But yeah, I think if I had my knowledge that I have now for the game and it's like surrounding the game, then I think that would be so beneficial for me and my performance going forward. But
So basically telling people you have to make some of these health sacrifices, these let go of some of the party type stuff, sacrifices early on. Not that you did that, but he wouldn't, I don't know if he would tell me anyway, right? Being mom.
No, I didn't.
I'm pretty sure that he didn't. So, all right, then I guess one of my last questions is, so for those listening, so what's your continued dream? I mean, obviously you said D1 hockey. So that's still your dream. And yeah.
My dream when I was a kid, play for the NHL. It's every little kid's dream. But then as you get older, you realize how good hockey is nowadays and how hard it is to even make D3. Like there's a lot of kids that I grew up playing with that just quit hockey, and it's sad to see. It's sad to see them done.
Well, there's a lot of changes in the
There's
hockey
just
world right
there's
now, currently,
nonstop
in the last
changes,
month
yeah,
or so.
with the
That really
CCHL,
are,
yeah,
yeah,
CHL.
it's really affecting all of you. I mean, you can even say you've had coaches tell you, forget about D1, right?
Yeah,
I
a
don't
lot of
believe in that.
coaches.
I don't want you to forget
Neither
about
do
that.
I,
But
but yeah, a lot of coaches say it's over now. Like it's all a mental game, and you got to stay on top of it, or else you'll just get stuck down with it.
I still also believe that it's connections too,
Hmm. It is.
because this sounds really almost rude, but we know, we watched enough of you and your teammates, and there's teammates that are playing at higher levels that you know that you're probably a little stronger than. They just had a different opportunity. It's all about opportunities and being in the right place at the right time sometimes, who you know.
Mm.
So that's part of the game too, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously I could talk to you forever, right? But what if someone's listening and they're a fan of you or a fan of the process that you've just gone through? What word of advice would you give them? I'm putting you on the spot a little. Would you give them any advice, maybe a sentence or two or whatever you feel? What would you leave them with?
I think one, not quote, but one thing that I've seen is just get 1% better every day, and you're beating yourself from yesterday. So if you focus on that, then it's just an uphill climb. Yeah, 1% better every day. And then also, social media is a huge thing nowadays for younger kids. I know I do it too. You get sucked into watching other people's success, and that'll only bring you down. That'll bring you down so fast. You just got to focus on yourself, your game, you getting better. And yeah, just you can't pay attention to other people's success. Like you'll see on Instagram, everyone's commitment posts, and I know everyone does it. Everyone sees them, and it makes you feel bad, makes you feel like you're not good enough. So don't get sucked into all that. Just focus on yourself, focus on your game, and just get 1% better.
I mean, like an imposter syndrome, right? Because you're very good at sharing. I see you share people's success,
Hmm. Yeah,
but don't compare
but
yourself.
you can't compare.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. You can't compare your two situations,
Yep. I love that.
or else it's just gonna mentally just drain you over time.
I love it. Well, I love you. It's probably the only guest that I can ever say that to until I can get his brother and sister on. We were going to try to do a whole family interview here because this
Probably
is
wouldn't work.
a really, yeah, we'd end up fighting or laughing or something. I don't know. But you're the first person I can say I love you on air here. Thank you so much. I know that you have a million things to do before you get on that plane tomorrow. And I am assuming that you all are happy that he was here. You could actually meet him. And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can actually see us. But if you're listening, you get to hear him for the first time. I hope this is just the first of many. If I can find some spare minutes of his, we just won't be in the same room likely until the summer.
Couple of months.
Yeah, a few months. He's got a big rest of the season to really do some things and to stay healthy, right?
Do my best. The
Stay
supplements
healthy.
will help.
Stay healthy. Well, well, you know what? Before we go, I don't know if there's a way, I know you spoke about social media, but if there's anybody that wants to reach out to you, do you have some place that would you share your Instagram, or is there anything, or you want them
Yep.
to go through me?
Whatever's you can, yeah, if they reach out to you, anything
Yeah.
works.
And then I don't know
My
if you're on.
Instagram, Snapchat, it's all just my name.
Shit. Okay, so I'll try to include that in the show notes, but you heard it. He has Snapchat and Instagram.
Or it's my number 3.
And then you can reach out if you're very serious, and I'll have to make sure it's legit, but I could actually give out his cell phone number if somebody wants to chat, because we have had some local kids that were interested in knowing his journey. We do have a couple that actually wanted to talk to you. Thank you all for listening. As always, I appreciate you being here. Make sure that you are ready to rock 2025, because you have to get, 1% better each day?
1%
Can you
better every
imagine
day.
what you'll be on December 31st of 2025 if you did that every single day? So Owen and I both wish you a wonderful 2025, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Elite Athlete Podcast. I hope today's episode gave you valuable tools to fuel smarter, recover faster, and dominate your sport on the field, the court, the ice, or wherever your journey takes you. If you loved this episode, I'd be super grateful if you could follow the show, rate it, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more athletes and parents who are ready to take their performance to the next level. Want even more tools to optimize your game? Subscribe to my free Inside Edge newsletter at www.the-eliteathlete.com/newsletters/inside-edge for actionable tips every single week. And if you're ready for a personalized game plan made just for you and your goals, don't wait. Book your game plan session today at www.the-eliteathlete.com/game-plan-session. Let's create the blueprint to help you thrive in sport and in life. Thanks again for listening. Keep fueling smarter, recovering stronger, and dominating with purpose. I'll see you next time.